good, everybody? I'm Jerry, about to check out 10 wrestling moves that almost paralyzed a WWE wrestler. This video is by WrestleMania. I'm not sure if it's going to be on here, but more so when Brock Lesnar powerbombed when he powerbombed Hardcore Holly back in 2002, it almost broke Hardcore's neck. I don't know if they're going to be on here, but that powerbomb that he did on Hardcore Holly was deadly, amongst other moves that happened throughout the years of wrestling, man. So we about to hop into this video and see what WrestleMania has on this list. Let's go. Give me a minute. And we off.
We moved, then nearly paralyzed. Number 10, the Wasteland. On paper, the Wasteland is one of the simplest wrestling moves there is.
That don't even look like a devastating move.
Criticism for looking too weak upon execution.
It actually did.
Barrett switched to the bullhammer elbow. Fans were delighted, as Wasteland just wasn't popular as a move. With that being said, the move should be easy to execute safely.
Yeah.
However, when Barrett performed the move on super heavyweight Mark Henry, tragedy almost struck alive on Raw.
Whoa.
Barrett just couldn't get Henry in a correct position, and Barrett almost injured his spine doing the move.
Whoa.
But the former Intercontinental Champion reflected on the infamous spot.
He almost injured his spine, not Mark Henry's.
We tried it during the day, it worked pretty well, and then we tried it in the match, and it did not work well, he said, admitting it was almost disastrous. I almost broke my spine. I landed Mark on top of his head. He was very upset with me afterwards. And this was on live TV, getting beamed around the world. Is it the new guy coming in to try and make himself good with the world of wrestling in the locker room, and veterans like Mark Henry and I came in and dropped him on his head, he said? So yeah, very embarrassing.
That's crazy.
And both Barrett and Henry were okay, but the spot acted as a sinister reminder that there's a difference between doing a move safely in a rehearsal and doing the move 10 minutes into a featured matchup. Number 9, the Shaker Height Spike.
What is that?
If a wrestling move receives audible concern from the fans, then it's highly likely that that move is very unsafe. The Beverly Brothers used a move known as the Shaker Height Spike, and the interesting thing about the move is that it was usually only performed on enhancement talent. Fans, as well as numerous wrestling personalities, have theorized that due to the dangers of the move, the only names that were going to take the move were those who had no choice in the matter. In one particular match, the move went wrong, and it looked like the poor enhancement talent broke their neck. It's hard to look at, and mainly because the brothers show a disturbing lack of remorse, and it was as if they didn't remotely care that they had potentially had a hand in injuring their opponent for real and almost paralyzing them. Number 8, Doomsday Device. The Doomsday Device is an iconic move in wrestling, yet there are obvious risk factors in taking a move of this nature. The wrestler
they can fall on their head,
fall backwards and hope that they don't land on their neck. For Henry or Godwin in 1997, he had a truly traumatizing landing. When he took the move, Godwin would land on his head, and he instantly cracked his C7 vertebrae. Godwin was advised by doctors to rest for 15 weeks, but returned to the ring in less than 8 weeks. Which was unfortunately a trend at the time, as wrestlers would rush back before they were medically ready, hoping that their place on the card had not diminished. Number 7, Chris Benoit's horrific landing. One of the top matches on the 2003 No Mercy pay-per-view saw Chris Benoit take on A-Train. One of the key scripted spots in the match was
he landed on the chair. I remember that.
A gorilla press from A-Train onto a chair. Unfortunately,
I don't know if he was always selling, but it always looked like Chris Benoit. Knowing what we know now,
and this meant that Benoit came.
It always looked like Benoit was. I don't know if he was selling it, or it always looked like his head was always hurting. Like every time he did the diving headbutt, any type of head-related moves head-related spots that they would do, he would always hold his neck. And then by us knowing what we know now about what happened to Chris Benoit and the CTE and everything, you're like, damn, the science was right there. But I'm not sure if he was selling it or not.
Crashing down head first onto the steel chair.
Yeah, I remember that.
The worst thing about this was that it was apparent that Benoit was in agony. Benoit wasn't selling. His pain was legitimate and agonizing. If this type of botch happened in today's WWE, then it's likely that the match would
concussion right there.
A ton of research has been done into CTE and head trauma, and an incident of this nature would require.
Then you got to understand like how many concussions Chris Benoit might have had throughout his career that wasn't diagnosed, that went unnoticed, that he just passed off.
To make sure that wrestler was safe to continue. Number 6, Tiger Driver 91. The Tiger Driver is a move that is commonly used outside of WWE. Yet when the move was first delivered, it was done by complete accident, and there was initial concern that that wrestler taking the move had been seriously hurt. Mitsuhara Misawa was a man often cited as being responsible for the move, and the story goes that Misawa attempted a powerbomb and the move was botched, and this led to his opponent landing horribly on their head. Due to his opponent somehow being perfectly fine and the move receiving a positive reaction from the audience, the move just seemed to stick around, and over time, it became a commonly used move in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Number 5, the Jackknife Powerbomb.
Yeah.
Performing a powerbomb on a smaller opponent
that always looked unsafe
for wrestlers such as Kevin Nash. However, when Nash was tasked with hitting his trademark powerbomb on the Giant, aka the Big Show, at the '98 sold-out pay-per-view, everything went wrong. At first, it looked like Nash was going to be able to get the Giant up. However, during the final few seconds, he dropped the Giant on his head. This was the single most terrifying moment in the history of WCW, and there was great concern that the Giant had broken his neck live on pay-per-view. Thankfully, the Giant was okay and he was able to wrestle again. And in typical WCW fashion, WCW decided to turn the botch into an angle and run with the idea that Nash broke the Giant's neck. Number 4, leg drop. Now, Hulk Hogan made a career out of dropping his devastating leg drop, yet Hogan has admitted that he regrets picking the leg drop as his primary finishing move, as doing the move thousands of times over the years has led to irreversible damage on his back. According to WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle on his podcast, Hogan has had the nerves cut from his lower body and he can't feel anything down below. Hogan had his back surgery again. He had the nerves cut from his lower body.
Hogan said that wasn't true, so I don't know if he was lying or not.
Because he has pain in his back. He doesn't have any pain. He has nothing at all. He can't feel anything. So now he can't feel his legs, so he has to walk with a cane. That's pretty serious, man. I mean, I really feel for Hogan. He's put his heart and soul into the business, and it ate him up. Let's just say the chances of Hogan ever taking a bump again are extremely slim. Number 3, the Tombstone.
Yeah.
When The Undertaker first arrived in WWE, he had issues making sure wrestlers were comfortable taking the Tombstone piledriver. The move looked like it was spiking wrestlers on their head, and when the Dead Man did the move against Mario Mancini, it looked like Mancini had been legitimately injured in the middle of the ring. When The Undertaker performed the move against Koko B. Ware at the Survivor Series pay-per-view in 1990, it looked incredibly stiff. When Taker came back through the curtain, Beware would claim that Undertaker had hurt his neck. The legendary Dead Man added some great insight into this story on his podcast, and he stated that he thought that he and Beware were going to come to physical blows. The very first tombstone that I give is to Koko. I give him the tombstone 1, 2, 3, and he's out. We get backstage and Koko gets me in the hallway and he's giving me the riot act, saying if somebody gives you their body, you gotta be able to protect them. You hurt my neck. I said, Koko, if I hurt you, I am sorry. I really pride myself on being safe and taking care of the guys I'm working with. He kept going, he was pissed. And to the point where I'd apologized all I could apologize for, and that's when I said, I've apologized as much as I know how to. If you're not going to accept that, then maybe we need to go out in the parking lot and figure this out. The Undertaker would adjust the tombstone in later months, and by the time the Dead Man retired in 2020, he was well established as being one of the safest wrestlers on the entire WWE roster. Number 2, the Banzai Drop. But whilst Yokozuna was usually safe with his opponents in the ring, he was also prone to putting a little too much force into his finishing move, the Banzai Drop. If Yokozuna wrestled someone he didn't like, or an enhancement talent, he would make the move look like he was trying to legitimately injure his opponent. Take, for instance, when he wrestled Jobber Dan Dubiel on an episode of Raw in early 1994. When Yokozuna performed the Banzai Drop, Yoko came down on him with all his full weight. To make matters worse, the referee had to inform Yokozuna that now was the time to get off the poor Jobber. Dubiel looked like he was paralyzed in the middle of the ring, but thankfully he was okay, and he continued to wrestle for WWE during that week's TV tapings.
Damn.
And number 1, the original pedigree. The pedigree is one of the most famous moves in wrestling, and for it to work safely, Triple H or any wrestler giving the move must allow the wrestler to land flat thanks to a front face bump. For a wrestler to land in this way, the wrestler giving the move usually has to let go of their opponent's arms, and this means that the wrestler can then support themselves and land safely down on the mat. But when Triple H first did the pedigree on TV, he kept a hold of his opponent's arms, and when he hit it on the enhancement talent named Marty Garner, Garner managed to get spiked headfirst right into the mat. The landing was horrible, and if Garner was hurt, then it's possible that the move could have been completely banned in WWE. According to Garner, during an interview on In the Weeds, he had genuinely zero idea what the pedigree was, and this impacted the way he took the move. Hunter was new there, and I was new there. I didn't want to tell him that I didn't know what the pedigree was. I had no idea what the pedigree was. When he said, "Are you good with taking the pedigree?" I said, "Oh yeah, sure, man." When he locked me into it, it felt like it'd be a powerbomb because he was putting my head between his legs. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kick hard. I didn't think it was a pile driver, but I didn't know what it was. I should have probably asked, looking back. Garner went on to say that the game was concerned for his welfare, but Garner has admitted that he's responsible for the move going so poorly.
Okay.
But there you have it, folks.
Glad he took ownership of that, man. That looked deadly.
Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.
Alright, y'all, great video, man. Let me know down below in the comments of what y'all thought of my reactions to this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.